Akwa Ibom Governor Pastor Moino Cross Rivers counterpart celebrate Nursery Auxiliary Bishop enthronement. Excitement, reprieve as governor's wife visits postnatal mothers at St. Luke's Hospital, Uyo. What do you know about averting domestic gas explosion and management of fire incidents? Details shortly. Good morning and welcome to AKBC 45 News at 7. I am Ufot Udoke. Now the news in detail. Governor Omoino was among dignitaries that witnessed the ordination of the first indigenous Catholic bishop, Monsignor Christopher Nasiri, as the auxiliary bishop of Calabar Archdiocese, held at the St. Paul's Parish University of Calabar. The service officiated by the Diocesan Archbishop, Most Reverend Joseph Ekuem, was also attended by the Cross River State Governor, Senator Basil Tu, and Governor of Yaoundé in Central Cameroon, Mr. Paul Biya. The governor, according to Patience John, congratulated the cleric and prayed him God's grace. The report.
Governor Moino, in acknowledging the services of clergymen in building the church and society, encouraged them to keep up as God will reward their labor. The governor extolled Archbishop Joseph Ekuem of the Calabar Diocese for his selfless service to the church in humanity. Over the decades, he expressed the hope that he will return to Akwa Ibom, where his contributions to the development of the state will be appreciated. Governor Moino also used the occasion to announce the death of a former prelate of Methodist Church Nigeria, Sunday Mbang, which he described as a big loss to the state and the church.
Let me especially salute the Obong of Calabar and the wife and the members of the Traditional Rulers Council. We'd like to thank God for the privilege He has accorded us to come here today to share in this ordination service. And I'm sure we go back with blessings for our state, Akwa Ibom State. We'd like to congratulate you, sir, on this celebration, and we trust the Lord to guide you and to help you. We trust that as you begin to wind down your tenure in office, you will consider settling back home in Akwa Ibom State. We know you have a choice where to settle, but we're making an offer that we'll be ready to receive you back home, because we need fathers now. You are aware that God has recently called to glory one of our greatest fathers in faith. We need fathers like you to continue to pray for our both states, and we thank you.
The Cross River State Governor, Senator Basil Tu, expressed delight to share fellowship with Governor Moino, whom he described as a good man and God's blessing to Akwa Ibom people.
That it is God's time for Cross River State. That is why things are happening like this. You have seen what Pastor Moino has done this morning. It is said, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. Let me seize the opportunity on behalf of all Cross Riverians and all those residing in Cross River to congratulate our bishop, Bishop Nasiri. God has a reason why He has bestowed this crown on you. And I know that He has deemed you fit. All we can do as Cross Riverians is to have you in our prayers, that you succeed in this responsibility.
The Archbishop Calabar Archdiocese of the Catholic Church, Joseph Ekuem, and the newly ordained auxiliary bishop, Christopher Nasiri, in their separate remarks, thanked the guests for honoring them and advised the governors to see themselves as instruments of service to the people, as well as work for the unity of Akwa Ibom and Cross River states.
I thank His Excellency, Pastor Umoino, who has come all the way from Akwa Ibom, our sister state, to join us. We thank you especially for offering to bring our apostolic nuncio to catch his other engagements. Thank you very much, sir, for being a part of our country, and especially for renewing and sustaining the relationship between Akwa Ibom and Cross River. I appeal to you, the two governors, to please know that we are brothers.
Patience John, AKBC News.
The joy of nursing mothers at St. Luke's Hospital, Anoyo, on Saturday knew no limits when the wife of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Patience Umoino, paid an unscheduled visit to the facility to share in the joy of mothers of newborn babies. Pastor, who was received on arrival by the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Njoko Isaac, and Matron Enoy Fiong, was ushered to the post-delivery wards where she reached out to nursing mothers and their babies with financial support and gifts. The governor's wife, who visited the hospital in company of top female government officials, congratulated the elected new mothers.
The state first lady, who said she decided to make her first visit to the hospital for first-hand appraisal, noted that she was impressed by the level of professionalism exhibited by the medical personnel to the well-being of mothers and infants. Pastor Patience Eno, who commended the clean and serene ambience of the facility, applauded the doctors and other health workers, urging them to continue in their good work while advising them not to keep patients longer than necessary.
I am happy with what I've seen so far. The ambience of this place alone is nice. And I want to greet the doctors, Chief Medical Director, and then the matrons. I can see it's teamwork that have made this happen. The ambience is what thrills me. This place is well kept. So I salute you. And I thank God for the births that you have recorded, this newborn. I ask that God bless it. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Responding on behalf of the administrator of the hospital and the entire staff, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Njoko Isaac, thanked the governor's wife for making out time to visit and donate to the nursing mothers.
I want to thank you immensely for getting time to visit us. It has been more than 7 years where we felt the presence of in this hospital. So we are very grateful. You have touched our hearts, you have touched the hearts of the hospital community. But just like Oliver Twist, we will appreciate if you will come frequently, more often, so that we can keep feeling your motherly presence.
A visibly elated nursing mother, Mrs. Ofonime Fiongudo, who responded to the benevolence of Pastor Patience Umoino, thanked the governor's wife for her visit and described it as a rare show of love, praying for God's blessing on the First Lady and family. Another mother, Mrs. Emmanuel, who was moved to tears, poured encomiums on the First Lady for offsetting a bill, having stayed in the hospital for 3 weeks.
I'm crying because it's tears of joy. I would have been here in the hospital 3 weeks that I delivered my baby and I was hopeless. Then I thank Her Excellency for coming to the hospital. She has paid my bill. I pray God bless and keep her in the mighty name of Jesus.
Pastor Eno interacted with various nursing mothers, offsetted the bills of some nursing mothers who were unable to be discharged due to accumulated bills, also offered cash and gift items to the 21 nursing mothers and 3 expectant mothers who were at the ward at the time of the visit. Accompanying the governor's wife on the visit were the wife of the Speaker, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Mrs. Margaret Otong, wife of the Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Inemesruwa, former Deputy Speaker, among others. Margaret Bassi, AKBC News.
Following public safety concerns on spike on explosion of domestic gas cylinders and ignorance about their expiry dates, experts have advised that liquefied petroleum gas cylinders should be discarded after 15 years. Yarino Paul in this report shares safety tips on how fire incidents at home could be prevented and what to do in events of an explosion.
Did you know that the gas cylinder you are using to cook expires after 15 years of production? Did you also know that you have to check the expiration date on your cylinder to avert the danger of explosion? Ignorance of these answers to these questions over time is responsible for a series of gas explosions which has claimed many lives. Studies reveal that liquefied petroleum gas cylinders have lifespan depending on countries they are produced. In Nigeria, the cylinders last for 15 years from the production date before they expire. Are people aware of this?
I have gas.
Okay, so have you been checking the expiring date?
As in, inside the gas.
Do you even know that cylinders expire?
That's what I didn't know.
Okay, many few of our gas cylinders expire.
Very well,
cylinder might expire, say that area.
That might expire. I have to want to
How do you check the expired gas cylinder?
Sometimes it is 1 hour.
I have no idea. Since I don't even know where to check for the expiry date.
According to Standard Organization of Nigeria, users of gas cylinders should check the handle or base of the cylinders for expiry date to avoid fire incidents or check the foot rings. Gas cylinders have inscriptions like T-date, TD. T means test, year of manufacture, and lifespan. It therefore means that if a cylinder is produced in 2006, it has expired in 2021. To calculate duration properly, users are advised to avoid buying already used cylinders. To check the expiry date, check alphabet A to D and the numbers. Alphabet represents the month. For example, A represents January to March. That is first quarter of the year. B represents April to June. That is the second quarter of the year. C represents July to September, the third quarter of the year, while D represents October to December, the last quarter of the year. If your cylinder has A18 painted on the metal strip, it means A represents month January to March, while 18 represents year 2018.
Now, most of you have been asking an important question. How do I know if my cylinder is expired? Now, this can be detected from the manufacturer or tested date of that cylinder. Depending on the size, this date can be found at the bottom of the cylinder or at the top of the cylinder. Also, depending on the manufacturer, these dates can be represented as plain numbers which show the month and the year, or as alphanumeric codes which consist of a letter A, B, C, D, and a year. The letters A, B, C, D represent either the first, second, or third quarter of the year. For instance, a cylinder with a manufacturer tested date of A 2021 shows that that cylinder was manufactured in the first quarter of the year 2021. You should also note that every cylinder has a lifespan of 15 years. So all you have to do is add 15 years to the manufacturer tested date. That way you know if your cylinder is expired or not.
It could be on the upper part or bottom part of the cylinder, depending on its design. On the right top, you will see TW, TP, WP, LPG, and finally tested, which is our area of interest. If the cooking gas cylinder was tested on 5th month in 2019, that means it will expire on the 5th month in 2034.
If by any chance the cylinder explodes, Here are safety tips according to experts.
In case of a fire, make sure that you are 2 or more so that the other person can call the fire brigade while you are busy trying to save anything that you might save. Don't try to risk your life to try to put up the fire.
Fire like this, what do we do?
Worst thing you could do, throw water on it. Here, throw the water on it, watch what happens.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
The greases will float on top of the water goes in, splashes it everywhere, makes a much bigger mess, much bigger fire.
So, what's the proper way of putting out a grease fire?
Easiest thing, put the lid right on top of it.
That's why in a situation like this, you're going to want to stay low and go. The lower you are, the cooler it is, and the cleaner the air is. So I'm going to be walking out of here on my knees. Well, you can see, you can't see anything behind us. There is a tunnel of clean air at the bottom and a funnel of that smoke up above us that is just coursing out of this house.
Remember that gas cylinders should be stored away from source of ignition and other flammable materials. Avoid buying painted cylinders so that you can see the expiry date clearly. Avoid using leaking cylinders even when they have not expired. Remember that expired cylinders can explode anytime. So, check your cylinder now. If you see D06, it means your cylinder has expired. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. AKBC News.
Shopping is an activity most people, regardless of financial status and social class, enjoy. The difference in shopping temperament lies in the balance between shopping for wants and needs, as the anxiety of compulsive buying does no good to a person's finances. Experts, according to Gassassian in this report, describes compulsive shopping habit as a disorder.
That massive online store, shoes, shirts, bags, thousands of products, and they deliver everywhere in Nigeria.
On television, radio, billboards, flyers, and now online, advertising for new products such as food items, gifts, cosmetics are dominant. While some people give in to these temptations and buy even more than they need, but for pleasure, there are some whose shopping habit goes beyond the occasional impulsive buying. The shopping habit, left unchecked, becomes an addiction without focus or a list in spite of scarce finances. Most people may not resist picking unneeded items in the supermarkets, especially those displayed on the cashier's counter, even when window shopping, even as special market days are jam-packed, especially Uraita. When shopping becomes an addiction, the buyer cannot resist the temptation of shopping compulsively. Such people, who may be termed shopaholics, may wreak havoc on their finances and relationship due to debt. They are found even in the offices collecting items on credit from different people with the promise to pay at the end of the month. Debtors are not necessarily shopping addicts, but addicts are almost always debtors. It's essential also to note the difference between enjoying shopping and having a shopping addiction. Obsessive and uncontrollable urge to buy things is a disorder, which researchers refer to as compulsive spending and pathological buying, similar to other behavioral addiction like gambling, overeating, drug, lying, watching television in excess, or anything anyone does in excess due to social psychological problems like depression, stress, anxiety, and grief to achieve temporal relief.
Today, I want to talk about impulse buying. Hi guys, my name is Toke. I'm a shopaholic. I'm addicted to shopping. Even in the department store, I end up buying, and it's a problem. Like, I buy things that I don't need. I buy things that I did not plan to buy. And I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this if we're all going to be honest for a little bit. Impulse buying is a very, very horrible habit. I've convinced myself in that hour, in that moment, in that second, that I actually need it. And I get home and maybe it's like a week or 2 or 3, I begin to see how useless this thing is to me. I wouldn't give it away, and I'm just staring at it. So I have been struggling a lot this year, but I think I've made some progress. So I thought
such purchasing may include buying a diamond-embedded underwear, 5 mobile phones at a time, different shades of same color of shoes and bags. By the way, is it men or women who have a greater addiction to shopping? What are the effects of shopping addiction?
Even the ones they have, if they see new one, they will like it, and they will still buy. They like. That is. If I'm in the Mama and the from second being in going to meet that, he can make it. I'm a go around, go carry them because they are Yakaka, and I am more care. Sorry, the Mecca, and I said again, Yakabon through.
Some people will have, why others will lack. So those people that you check, you find out in one way or the other they are getting it, will buy. Why the richer will be getting richer, the poor will be getting poorer.
Shopping addiction impacts people's financial stability. Addicts' debt can increase exponentially as the bills pile up, they fear even their shadows, and at the sight of their creditors, they take to their heels, adding stress to an already stressful situation. Perhaps people should try to live within their revenue or budget and seek help when they find out that they cannot stop buying even when they do not need those things. People should also learn to cut their coats according to their clothes, not necessarily according to their size. Do not patronize all sellers in the office. Do not buy all ashebis and do not belong to all uniform groups. Moreover, take a look at your wardrobes, your drawers, cupboards, shelves, stores. Select the clothes, shoes, watches, cars, or even phones that are not in use or less than your status.
The money, the thousands of dollars I've spent over the years to where I am now, I think what I could have done with that money. That's kind of sad.
So I'm a victim, right? So if you are also a victim, don't worry, we're in this together. Some things that have helped me that I'll be sharing with you guys. One, making a list. As old as that sounds, because but it's helped me, okay, to fight this impulse buying nature of mine, right? So writing down exactly what you need, not what you want. There are two different things. Okay, because our wants and our needs are always going to be at loggerheads, but you have to sort of write down what you need at that particular time. Then find yourself struggling while you're in the shop or struggling while you see a picture and your mind just can't get past the picture and you just keep going back to it and you just ask yourself, do you want to inside your cupboard? Have you finished wearing it? Surround yourself with well-grounded people who are obviously going to remind you that you can't buy that because you already have it in this color.
There are people in need at the orphanages or at the correction centers, and these will be a blessing to you. Augusta Isian, AKBC News.
Perspective on parenting as world commemorates 2023 Parents' Day. Details after the break. Stay with us. Yeah, welcome back to the news. It was an exciting day for pupils, students, teachers, and parents of Well International School, Ikori Yangiti, instead of Biam local government area, as they celebrate the end of year and graduation ceremony. The ceremony held at the school premises availed them the opportunity of celebrating mileage they have attained since the establishment of the school. The reports.
In his valedictory speech, the proprietor of the school, Mr. Niekeme Ndaisien, emphasized that Wells International Schools aims at providing quality and affordable education to the children in the rural areas, which explains why the school is sited in the area. He tasked them to seek more education, shun all manner of social vices, urged them to be more focused in their studies, especially during the holidays. Mr. Ndaisien also commended the state governor, Pastor Moino, for his educational-friendly policies, which he noted will enhance the development of the state.
I'm always intentional about the motive and the intentions of Wells International Schools. I appreciate every bit of work you've put into Wells International Schools. We always come to change and to innovate, to bring in the innovative mind in Wells International Schools. And we will still expand as long as Wells International Schools is concerned.
On her welcome address, the supervisor of the school, Ms. Idiong Udwak, noted that the school, which started with 5 pupils and students in 2020, has made a remarkable progress not only in numerical strength, but also in quality of teachers, facilities, internet services, computer and science laboratory, musical and sporting equipments.
This success did not come by an accident. It is as a result of proprietors, and staff and management who have molded these children, grown, coached, and given them all the necessary assistance in the area of learning and developing their milestone in education.
The school administrator, Mr. Elijah Akpan, announced that the school is organizing a summer camp 2023 tagged Wells Upskill from August 7th to September 1st at the school premises, where the students would be trained on various skills. Urge interested candidates to call 0903 041 5355 and 0815 313 1314 or visit the school premises at Ikoru Road, Ikori Nyangeti, Nsorubiom local government area to get registered for 2,000 naira.
So if you study extraordinary people, you will understand that they all work extremely hard to get to a point which they are. Hard work is the key to success. Just like I said already.
Expressing satisfaction over the development of the school, the village head of the area, Ethidon Matthew Moses Essien, prayed for the growth and development of the students and urged the pupils and students to take their studies seriously, while some of the graduating students commended the school for impacting their lives and their parents for investing in their future.
Parenthood is one of life's biggest responsibilities, expressed in the love, care, and unconditional affection in nurturing their children from cradle to adulthood. To appreciate the contribution of parents in making life worth living for their offspring, they are often celebrated with gifts and support, especially at old age. Scaling up this consciousness on the need to celebrate parents better explains the setting aside of a 4th Sunday in July since 1994 as Parents' Day. Hope Anthony and Intin with AKBC TV reports that this year's theme is the power of parenting, raising happy, healthy, and hopeful children. The reports.
Everyone belongs to a family where parents play a central role in children's upbringing, except in some cases where persons have had to grow without a father or mother, and worse still, without both. Such people have either lost their parents to death, separation, or maybe a situation where their parents have not taken responsibility for them because of unpreempted situation, such as poverty or sheer irresponsibility. Ask people in the orphanage, some who are housemaid, those who have not ever seen their parents, how they feel when they take some defining steps in life and their parents are unavailable. Parents offer identity, love, care, protection, economy, security, and stability to their children and adolescence. Even up to adulthood, parents who offer assistance and advice to their children and get blamed by the society.
Mupempo Christianity ne kebuno nyefon na de penwe bladeshin ke adunam abono yagafon. Mupempo metete yit sejiri penwe de mayinui ibeni singerunam abio jidem arongo kemem. Apam bode metemeka. Live by example.
The first and the best thing to do is to train a child in the way of the Lord. Every parent should make time for their kids at home, teach them morally as they grow up, how to avoid peers that will influence them negatively. I think parents should also boost their children's self-esteem.
Help in their responsibilities for the children and their families, that, and also train the children in a godly manner.
Moreover, throughout people's life, parents, be they biological, spiritual, or parent figure, lead the world to be independent through sleepless nights and endless worry. They raise and protect their children at hard times through thick and thin. They fasten their belts to ensure their children get proper education, skills, and learn to be core parts of the communities. In recognizing, uplifting, and supporting the role of parents, most people go a long way to reciprocate their sacrifices in not just celebrating their parents, but take care of them at old age and ill health. Even when one's parents die untimely or old age, people grieve uncontrollably from their loss. Others immortalize their names. It is therefore out of place and shameful, especially in this part of the world, to see people neglect their parents, even when they, the children, are living in affluency, labeling one's parents' names like witches when a person fails to achieve his desire has been frowned at. Raising one hand to or talking back at one's parents is considered a sacrilege in Akwa Ibom culture, while it is seen as bad to give one's parents an unbefitting care and a befitting burial.
Society. The temeka isi se ayena mo ediongo mufanze ntomo enyenge ediongo ntutondo emero bedana sinengwe is better anyede educative than ade idiot illiterate.
But by the time you train a child, you grow up in the way of the Lord, you will not deviate from it. You will stick on it. Even the parent, the mother, the father, and the people around you will not be glad they have the children, and the children has grown and become responsible. But once you have a child that grows up to become responsible in the society will not be. So it is advisable that every parent should be flexible and willing to adjust their parenting style to train up a child in the right path. Parents also need to show their children unconditional love.
They have to provide for the family. They have to make provisions for their children to be trained educationally. To the family, support the family financially.
Think of visiting and spend time with your parents more often. Send help or assistance more regularly. Showing love, care to one's parents who did or did not live up to their own responsibilities is the children's responsibility. Hope Anthony, AKBC News.
And that's our news this morning, but just before we go, a quick look at the recap. Governor Omono was among eminent personalities that Saturday witnessed the ordination of the first indigenous Catholic Bishop, Monsignor Christopher Nasiri, as the auxiliary bishop of Calabar Archdiocese. In his goodwill message to the cleric, Governor Omono reminded the Church on the need to lead the advocacy for moral uprightness in the society. We also brought you a report that the joy of nursing mothers at St. Luke's Hospital Anuawuyo on Saturday knew no limits when the wife of the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Patience Sumoino, paid an unscheduled visit, bearing gifts and cash support to mothers of newborn babies. And that's our news. Thanks for being with us. Good morning.